All right, the 49ers are playoff winners, 41-23. That was the blowout that I think we all expected, but obviously a little bit more of a roundabout path to the blowout for the 49ers. The Seahawks played a really good second quarter, right? Seattle fell behind 10-0, then they played a good second quarter. The 49ers were sloppy as hell. Actually went into the locker room down by a point because Jimmy Ward had a terrible play for the 49ers. Going to find a spot here in the hallway at Levi's to talk before I head over to the locker room. But Ward, I mean, that personal foul against Geno Smith, inexcusable. Just let him run out the clock there, and everything's good. Gave Seattle a 56-yard field goal attempt, and they took a 17-16 lead at half. But the 49ers came out roaring in the second half, especially after the game-changing play. Charles Omenihu strip sack after he had missed Geno Smith the previous possession. He definitely delivered on the next one. Seattle was driving. They're down only 6. It was 23-17. And Omenihu delivered with the strip sack. He later delivered another sack. Omenihu's first multi-sack game of his career came at just the right time. Nick Bosa fell on the fumble, and it turned everything around for the 49ers. This place shook. Levi's shook after that fumble recovery from Nick Bosa. And from that point on, the 49ers just roared offensively. They ended up winning, 41-23. A 41-23 garbage time touchdown for Seattle, but it was 22-0 run at one point in the second half, maybe even more than that, because then Deebo Samuel scored on the 74-yard touchdown catch and run. At that point, the Seahawks were not interested in tackling Deebo Samuel at all. And, I came into the game saying Seattle has the second worst yak defense in the NFL, behind only ahead of only the Arizona Cardinals. And I think if you count the regular season plus this game, Seattle now is the worst yak defense in the NFL. They did not want to tackle Deebo Samuel after the catch. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Deebo was just running them over in the first half. I mean, Deebo intimidated the hell out of the Seahawks in the first half. Then when it came time to that 74-yarder, nobody wanted to get in front of him. So he just sprints all the way to the end zone. Definitely helps pad Brock Purdy's final stat line, 300-plus yards for Purdy. Purdy finished 9 of his last 11. In the second half, Purdy went 9 of 11, and he averaged 16.8 yards per attempt. Just filthy. So, yeah, Brock Purdy came out a little shaky, missed a few passes in the first half. Might have had something to do with the wet football and the rain in this football game. But in the second half, I think Brock Purdy found a way to get on schedule. The first half, the Seahawks did a good job forcing Brock Purdy off schedule. They kept on making him roll out to the left, and he kept on trying to play hero ball. We saw several examples where Brock Purdy was missing open 49ers receivers downfield because he was going for too big of a play, one to Ayuk instead of Samuel crossing over the middle. And the key was just to get him into rhythm. And I think the Seahawks knocked him out of rhythm at the start because they're taking away with their linebackers. They're taking away the 49ers' bread and butter, the crosses. So the key was to go outside, throw outside, and the 49ers did throw outside. They continued passing to set up the run, and that ignited Purdy in the second half, 16.8 yards per attempt. He was great on schedule, and then, once the on-schedule stuff is the base, it's that's going to be the bread and butter because the 49ers had wide open receivers everywhere. Once that's the base and Purdy's executing it, then he could go off schedule when necessary. And he did some awesome stuff off schedule, including the touchdown to Elijah Mitchell where he escaped to the left and then escaped to the right, found Mitchell for the score. There also was the dropped potential touchdown to Brandon Ayuk that was, I called it Mahomesian from Brock Purdy. Steve Young might have a point when he's comparing Brock Purdy to Patrick Mahomes. So question answered on the front of the 49ers rookie quarterback in the playoffs. He delivered today. I get it. Seattle's not a great defense. Seattle's an overall, I think, mediocre playoff team. But the 49ers did what they were supposed to do. They blew out a Seattle team that isn't great. Next for the 49ers, if Minnesota wins tomorrow, they're going to play next Saturday against the Vikings here at Levi's Stadium. If Minnesota loses to the New York Giants, the 49ers will play on Sunday here at Levi's against the Monday night winner. That's either Tampa Bay or Dallas. So the 49ers now get to sit back. They have a long week of rest against whoever they play. They're going to have an advantage, and they could dig in and try to eliminate some of the mistakes they made defensively. Seattle was able to run the ball in the first half. 49ers shut that down in the second half, and then once they shut it down and the offense really started clicking with Brock Purdy, that's when we saw the pass rush start to hit for the 49ers. We saw the 2 sacks for Omenihu. We even saw Deommodore Lenoir deliver an interception. Lenore actually played really, really well for the 49ers today, which is a big arrow up. Charvarius Ward struggled against DK Metcalf, who I thought was on one today for Seattle, right? It was Metcalf who was really damaging the 49ers with 100-plus yards. But Lenore played good technique today, great technique on the pick against Tyler Lockett, and that might be the biggest arrow up for this 49ers defense entering the rest of the playoffs, because the weakness was supposed to be Deommodore Lenore, and I think Charvarius Ward's going to bounce back. He's a good player. He's not going to face DK Metcalf on one every single game, right? So the fact that Lenore showed up in this postseason game, even against Tyler Lockett, that's huge for the 49ers. In total, this was an all-around effort from the 49ers. Yes, there was a rough patch there. There were some mistakes, but only really good teams can overcome some mistakes and still drop 40 in the playoffs and win at a blowout, easily cover the spread. This was, I think, the 49ers' best performance of the season. They've never looked better than they did in the second half of this game down the stretch. They just went on a dominant tear. +2 in turnover differential. Remember, the 49ers finished in number 1 in turnover differential in the regular season. They did it again today. They put together offense, defense, special teams. The Super Bowl hype for the 49ers should be as high as ever right now. I think that they piled onto it today with this performance. And hey, 49ers got revenge against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, remember back in 2013, January 2014, the Seahawks beat them in the playoffs. 49ers avenged that. They go 3-0 against the Seahawks this year, and the 49ers finish 7-0 against the NFC West. Mike just texted me, 49ers went .72 EPA per play on offense. Absolutely dominant performance. That's because the 49ers have weapons everywhere, including Christian McCaffrey. 115 rushing yards, Deebo Samuel, 133 receiving yards. This team is loaded. We'll talk to you all soon from the locker room. Everybody like and sub.